Hi, and welcome to the I'm Bringing Healthy Back podcast. I'm Rachel. If you're not new here, the different background is just because I'm at home for Christmas and you guys are precariously placed on some pillows. I didn't plan this super well, but we're going to get the topic covered today, and I'm going to hopefully not wobble too much because I don't need my camera wobbling either. So, an episode or two ago, I talked about how maybe avoiding carbs is part of the problem. If you're someone struggling with your relationship with food and you think, maybe if I can just stop eating carbs, everything will be better. And I was talking about how maybe that restriction, that rule that carbs are bad is perpetuating the issue. And your mindset on carbs is not helping. And someone left a comment on there, and they mentioned, part of the comment asked the question, do you think people who make healthier swaps, carb light versions, have an unhealthy relationship, and I'm guessing with food? And my answer to that is twofold. I don't think low carb is inherently healthier, and I don't believe that choosing low carb is inherently disordered when it comes to eating. And I think it's important for us to talk about food neutrality, not labeling something as good or better or bad or worse, but maybe I like to focus on more nutrient dense or less nutrient dense, and that doesn't mean something, just because something is less nutrient dense, it's something that we need to avoid, because food is to be enjoyed, food is fuel. But it's the day after Christmas when I'm recording this, and I ate some not very nutrient dense foods this week and probably over this weekend, and it's okay. It's part of enjoying life. And I think I can link that together with high calorie versus low calorie, high protein versus low protein, high fiber versus low fiber. Just because something is low calorie, high protein, or high fiber doesn't mean it's the healthiest food you can eat. And just because something is high calorie, low protein, low fiber doesn't mean it's the absolute worst thing you can eat. Just because you have a protein bar that's high in protein, but it has more grams of sugar than it does protein, maybe is that healthy, or is it more just like a candy bar that has extra protein in it? Just things to consider. And I think if we can just start thinking of food as neutral, it puts less pressure on you of like, am I doing good? Am I doing bad? But going back to the example of high carb versus low carb, the first food I think of is tortillas, like regular tortillas or a low carb version of a tortilla. Again, one, I don't think low carb is inherently healthier. But in saying that, maybe your body feels better when you choose a low carb tortilla versus a high carb tortilla or a regular tortilla. And I don't know why that is, but maybe we need to take a step back and say, what is society telling me is healthier versus how is my body feeling when I eat these foods? Now, if we talk about high fiber for a minute and you're not used to eating high fiber and you're constipated, your gut is not feeling great when you start eating high fiber, that doesn't mean that you should stop eating high fiber. That just means your body's getting used to it. Maybe you need to drink some more water. Things to consider. But when it comes to high carb, regular carb versus low carb, maybe you feel less weighed down with the low carb, and that's okay. But again, mindset. If you are choosing low carb because you think it's healthier, it's not inherently healthier. If you get anxiety when you choose if you're eating something that's high calorie, if you get anxiety when there's not a lot of protein in something, if you get anxiety when there's not a lot of fiber in something, that is disordered eating thoughts. You should not feel anxiety over eating things unless you have like a food allergy. And then going back to high carb versus low carb, let's go back to our tortilla example. So your body might feel better when you choose a low carb option. Is it the low carb that is making your body feel better, or is there something in the ingredients? And this is going to be on a person by person basis. Is it low carb, or is it how the food is processed, what ingredients are in it versus regular? Because when I think of like low carb versions of things, I think of processed bread, like store-bought bread, store-bought tortillas, versus whole foods, potatoes, rice. Now, I know rice can feel really heavy in your belly sometimes. Sometimes people say potatoes can feel really heavy, but I'm thinking, okay, what are you eating it with? What is it cooked with? Is it buttery, creamy mashed potatoes, which are delicious, not inherently bad, but those may sit heavier in your belly? Or is it a baked potato? Or is it roasted potato fries? I know rice can feel heavy in some people's belly, like I mentioned. How does your gut feel when you eat quinoa? So it's just going back to listen to your body, see how your body feels after you eat something, and trust your body more than you trust what society is telling you is the better option. If your gut feels better when you eat low-carb tortillas, great, go for a low-carb tortilla. But if you get anxiety about eating a not low-carb tortilla, those are unhealthy thoughts. Again, food is not inherently bad. It can be less nutrient dense or more nutrient dense. Food is part of life. You're allowed to enjoy it. You should not have to have anxiety over it. Let me know down in the comments, if you're listening on YouTube, your thoughts on high versus low carb, protein, fiber, sugar, and maybe your experience of, does your body feel better when you eat one versus the other? Have you struggled eating regular versus low, fill in the blank? And how have you overcome that, or are you still struggling with it? Thanks so much for listening to today's episode. Be sure to like if it gave you some helpful insight, subscribe for more content from me, and I'll see you guys in the next video.